Good morning. Today we are going to look about the antiretroviral drugs. So we will discuss how the virus enters the cell and what it does inside the cell, and and where all these drugs going to act at different levels of this virus entry. Okay. Now before moving in, let us see what are all the HIV virus contain. Fine. See, this is your HIV. So what happens, you have your spike proteins. This is your GP120, you have your GP41, fine, you have your nucleocapsid, you have your RNA, fine, and you have some viral genomes here. Okay, now this virus, what it has to do when it wants to enter the cell, it is obviously going to bind to some aspect of your cell that we call it as a receptor. So what happens, this GP120, it goes and sits in this receptor. Fine. This receptor is your CCR5 receptor. Fine. This receptor is CCR5 receptor. So what happens, your spike protein, your GP120, it goes and attaches to a CCR5 inhibitor receptor, and once it enters the cell, it releases its RNA. Fine. And with the help of an enzyme, this RNA is converted. This is your viral RNA. It is converted to viral DNA. Fine. What is that enzyme? That enzyme is your reverse transcriptase. What is it? Reverse transcriptase. Okay. Now this RNA, it is converted to the viral DNA with the help of an enzyme, reverse transcriptase. Okay. After converting this viral DNA, what it does is, it enters your host nucleus. Fine. This is your nucleus, and it enters the host nucleus and it integrates with your host DNA. Fine. As the name suggests, it integrates with the help of an enzyme, integrase. So your viral DNA with the help of an enzyme integrase, it integrates with your host DNA, and once it integrates, it comes out, and with the help of transcription, it forms your viral RNA, transcription, and with the help of translation, it forms your polyproteins. Fine. This polyprotein which is formed here, it is cleaved to these polyproteins, they are cleaved to a single protein. Fine. With the help of an enzyme, proteinase. Fine. These polyproteins, they are cleaved to single proteins, they are cleaved with the help of an enzyme, proteinases, and this forms your respective aspect of your virus. For example, it forms your spike proteins, it forms your nucleocapsid, and once this is formed, this RNA integrates or it fuses with this, and they form your another mature virion. Fine. This forms your another mature virion. So this is how an HIV virus comes in, and it forms another mature virion. Fine. So you have your spike proteins GP120 and GP41. So this GP120, it binds to the receptor that we call it a CCR5 receptor, and upon entering, it releases its RNA, which converts to the viral DNA with the help of an enzyme, reverse transcriptase, and with the help of an enzyme integrase. This viral DNA, it fuses or it integrates with your host DNA, and after that, with the help of translation, it forms your RNA, and with the help of transcription, it forms RNA, and with the help of translation, it forms polyproteins. These polyproteins are cleaved to the single proteins with the help of an enzyme, proteinases, and on these two join, they form a mature virion, and it comes out of the cell and it multiplies. So this is how your HIV virus replicates. Okay. Now what I am going to do is, it's very simple. I am going to block all these. Okay. First, I don't want this virus to enter the cell. Fine. Forget binding. I don't want it to enter the cell itself. So what I should do, I should block these spike proteins, your GP41, your GP120. So what happens, I am giving something called as entry inhibitors. Fine. I am giving something called as entry inhibitors, which is nothing but your enfuvirtide. Fine. E for E. Fuvertide. Fine. So I don't want the virus to enter, so I'm blocking at the entry itself. So I'm calling it as enfuvertide, E for E. Okay. Okay, the virus has binded to the receptor. Now, I don't want it to enter the cell. So I'm blocking this receptor. So I'm using something called as CCR5 receptor inhibitor. Okay, so this CCR5 receptor inhibitor, I call it as Maraviroc. Fine. So I'm blocking the entry and as well as I'm blocking the CCR5 receptor inhibitor. CCR5 receptor inhibitor is your Maraviroc. Okay. Now, okay, the virus has entered and it has released its RNA. Fine, the virus has entered and it has released its RNA. Now, I don't want this RNA to be converted to the viral DNA. Fine, so for that I should block this reverse transcriptase. So, I am using a reverse transcriptase inhibitors. Fine, so these reverse transcriptase inhibitors, they are your nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors or non-nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors. Fine. I'll tell you an easy mnemonic to remember this. Fine. Okay. Let's dazzle. Fine. So you can remember the nucleoside reverse transcriptase. This is a very important aspect of this antiretroviral drugs, your nucleoside reverse transcriptase and your non-nucleoside reverse transcriptase. So your nucleoside reverse transcriptase, I'm going to give a mnemonic, let's dazzle. Okay. So your L is for your lamivudine. And E is for your emtricitabine. And T is for your tenofovir. And S is for stadodine or stavudine. So lamivudine, emtricitabine, tenofovir and stavudine. Okay, in this dazzle what I am going to do is I am going to take only the first three. Okay, leave this. Okay, so D is for didanosine, a very important drug, didanosine. And A is for abacavir. And Z is your very, very important drug, zidovudine. Fine. This is your nucleoside reverse transcriptase. So let's dazzle. L is for lamivudine, emtricitabine, tenofovir, stavudine, and dazzle. D is for your didanosine, abacavir, zidovudine. Okay. Now coming to the non-nucleoside reverse transcriptase. So non-nucleoside reverse transcriptase is, it ends. Fine. It is the last one. So END. Fine. So E is for your efavirenz. And N is for nevirapine. Fine. Nevirapine. And D is for dilaverdine. So this is your non-nucleoside reverse transcriptase and this is your nucleoside reverse transcriptase. Fine. This is very important. So let's dazzle and non-nucleoside is end. Efavirenz, nevirapine and dilaverdine. Okay. Now, okay, I left it here. So your virus has been converted to your viral DNA. Now I don't want it to integrate with your DNA, that is our DNA, host DNA. So I am blocking this enzyme. I call this as your integrase inhibitors. Fine. So integrase inhibitor. Fine. So as you can see, it has GRA, integrase. Fine. GRA. Anything that ends with gravir. So raltegravir. Any drug that ends with gravir, for that matter, it's going to be your integrase inhibitors. You can remember it also has grav. Fine. Okay. Once it has entered and it is integrated to host DNA and it is about to be converted to this protein. So I am blocking at this point. So I call this as protease inhibitor. Protease inhibitor, I'll tell you how, two ways you can easily remember it. So one is the mnemonic RAINS. Fine. So R is going to be your ritonavir, and A is going to be your atazanavir. I is going to be your indinavir. N is going to be your nelfinavir. S is going to be sacuinavir. So here you can able to see one similarity. Anything that ends with navir. So your integrase, if you see, it has G. So anything ends with gravir is going to be integrase, and your protease doesn't have G, no G. So N, navir. So ritonavir, indinavir, nelfinavir, sacuinavir. So anything that ends with navir is going to be a protease inhibitor. Fine. So this is the various drugs, antiretroviral drugs. So you have your entry inhibitors, your henfuvertide, you have your CCR5 receptor inhibitor, you have your maraviroc, and coming to the reverse transcriptase, you have nucleoside, non-nucleoside, let's dazzle, hind, and your integrase inhibitor, you have raltegravir, and protease inhibitor, you have your navirs. So your ritonavir, indinavir, nelfinavir, and sacuinavir. So this is a very, very small topic, antiretroviral drugs. Once you know this mechanism of action of, you can easily remember with the mnemonics, but don't keep mnemonics for every classification. Okay, it will be very difficult. So keep mnemonics restricted to what all you find difficult. And that is it, guys. Hope you like this video. So if you find this video helpful, please share with your friends, and thank you for watching this video, guys.